Hi guys, so today we're going to look at the digestive system anatomy, part 8. Today we're going to be looking at the blood supply, the nerves, the veins, and the lymphatics. And just a quick note, this will be the very last video of the series, so this will be the ending of the series. So let's go into it. Now, the gut tube, right, is actually divided into three different parts. First, you got the foregut, the midgut, and the hindgut itself. Now, it is important to know these three guts itself because if you want to learn the vascular the blood supply of the digestive system, the veins, you need to know the foregut, the midgut, and the hindgut because all of these are basically characterized by the different parts of the digestive tract. For example, we have the foregut, which consists of the stomach, the second and first part of the duodenum, the liver and gallbladder, the pancreas, and the spleen. And then you have the midgut, which consists of the third and fourth part of the duodenum, the jejunum, the ileum, the cilium, and the vesiform appendix, the ascending colon, and the transverse colon. And you have the hindgut, which has the transverse colon, the descending colon, the sigmoid colon, and then the rectum colon as well. So it's very important to know these parts. Now, the celiac trunk, right, is actually going to be supplying the foregut itself. So you can see the foregut, all of these, you have the liver, the common, the pancreas, the second and first part of the duodenum, the stomach, and the spleen. So all of those are your accessory digestive organs. Now I can see the celiac trunk like spreads into three different arteries. First, you have the common hepatic artery, the left gastric artery, and then you have the splenic artery. So all of these are going to supply your foregut. The celiac trunk is going to supply the foregut organs. And the superior mesenteric artery or SMA is going to supply our midgut organs. So midgut organs has the appendix, the cilium, the ileum, the jejunum, the ascending colon, and then the transverse colon as well. Now, there is an astronomical connection between the foregut and the superior mesenteric artery itself. So you can see how the celiac trunk and the superior mesenteric itself form a astronomical connection between those two as they form the superior pancreatic duodenal artery and the inferior pancreatic duodenal artery itself. So when we say astronomical, we mean there is going to be a opening, a two-way pathway opening. So if, for example, one of those arteries get clogged, for example, there's going to be blood supply that is still going to be flowing into the other arteries itself. So this is why we call a astronomical connection between those two. And we have the inferior mesenteric artery that is actually going to supply our hindgut itself. So it's going to have the transverse colon, the descending colon, the sigmoid colon, and the rectum itself. And so you can see here the superior rectal artery, which is going to supply the rectum, the sigmoidal arteries are going to supply the sigmoid colon, and then the left colic artery is going to supply the descending artery. And no, sorry, not the descending artery. I mean the descending colon and the transverse colon itself. Now, there's also going to be an astronomical connection between the superior mesenteric artery and the inferior mesenteric artery itself. So can see here, I've drawn a dotted line now here on how the blood actually loops around these two arteries itself. So you can see it first starts from blood glowing through the middle colic artery, passes through into the marginal artery, and then courses down all the way into the inferior mesenteric artery, or it can go through the left colic artery into the inferior mesenteric artery itself. So there is an astronomical connection. Blood will always flow in like a open two-way pathway. Now, the lymphatics, right? So the limbs of the GI tract, right, is going to drain into the lymphatics named after the artery supply itself. So named after artery mean we have the celiac lymphatic nodes which are gonna drain from the foregut, and then we have the superior mesenteric lymph nodes which are gonna drain from the midgut, and we have the inferior mesenteric lymph node which is gonna drain from the hindgut. So like I said, it's very important to know what structures form the foregut organs, the midgut organs, and the hindgut organs. Now, this is a reference on the blood supply of the foregut, midgut, hindgut, and the veins of the foregut, midgut, and hindgut itself. So you can see the foregut is supplied by the celiac trunk, and the veins are the gastric veins, the gastric mantle veins, and the splenic veins. The midgut is supplied by the superior mesenteric artery and drained by the superior mesenteric vein. And the hindgut is supplied by the inferior mesenteric artery, but is drained by the inferior mesenteric vein itself. So there's going to be these supplies down here. Now I can see on the reference now here, the foregut consists of the gastric vein, the gastromental vein, and the splenic veins. Ultimately, there are going to be more there are going to be more drainage systems like the pancreas, the spleen, the gallbladder, but it's I didn't write in this diagram down here. So you can see it forms the stomach, and there will be the splenic vein down there, which is going to drain into the portal vein up into the liver. And then we have the superior mesenteric vein, which is going to drain from the midgut. See, all of these, you have the digimen, the ileum, the transverse colon, the ascending colon, cilium, and appendix itself. And ultimately, all of that deoxygenated blood, right, is going to flow up into the superior mesenteric vein, into the portal vein, where they will go to the liver. And we have the inferior mesenteric vein, which is going to drain from the hindgut itself. So you have the descending colon, a part of the transverse colon, which is not written here, the sigmoid colon, and the rectum itself. So you can see all of that deoxygenated blood is going to drain from the GI tract into the inferior mesenteric vein, up to the splenic vein, where they go to the portal vein, into the liver. Now, the innervations of the GI tract. So this might get a little bit complicated, but I've split this up into the best I can already. So the greater saphenous vein, right? The vein. I mean the nerve is going to be supplied by T5 to T9, and it's also so its sympathetic innervation is going to be supplied by the greater saphenous nerve. And for parasympathetic, it's going to be supplied by the vagus nerve, so cranial nerve number 10. Now, sympathetic functions actually it decreases mobility, decreases secretion, decreases vasoconstriction, and increase of pain signals as well. But if we move on to parasympathetic, it increases the mobility, increase secretion, relaxes the sphincters, and increases the digestion and absorption of nutrients. Now, if you go and look at the sympathetic part of the lesser sympathetic nerve, right, which is going to originate from T10 to T11, what happens there is also a part of the parasympathetic where it is the vagus nerve as well. And it's going through the same process as well. So I can read from this slide down here. And we have the lumbar sphincter nerve, which is going to originate from L2 to L4. And this time for the parasympathetic is going to be supplied by your pelvic sphincter nerve from S2 to S4, also having the same functions as well. So when we come to parasympathetic and and sympathetic, what are the effects on peristalsis itself? So when we're talking about sympathetic, it actually during peristalsis it slows down the movement of food, it decreases our secretion, it constricts our blood vessels and send pain signals. But if we on the parasympathetic, it actually increases peristalsis, meaning it actually increases the movement of food, increase our secretion, relaxes the sphincters, and helps with more digestion and absorption of nutrients as well. And that is it for the part 8 of this video. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This will be the last video of this series. So if you have watched through this entire video, I just want to thank you so much for checking out this series. And I hope you've learned a lot from it. And I will see you in the next time. Peace.